Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're dialing in from. My name is Callum Fitzpatrick from Aforza, and welcome to our webinar on real-time next best action from a single photo with Aforza Vertical AI specifically for beverages. And Aforza Vertical AI, Ava, that's who you can see on the screen. I'm going to introduce you to her in just a moment. But we've got a really short, sharp, exciting agenda today. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to Aforza, to anyone who's new to Aforza, who hasn't come across us before. And then we're going to jump straight into the challenges that are pretty unique to the beverage industry. From there, I'm going to introduce you to Ava properly and the solution, how she can help you in every single way for all of your field teams, for your planners, for everyone within your organization, in your industry, in the beverage space. And then we're going to jump into a demonstration where I'm going to be a field rep, capturing a photo in store and getting my next best action from Ava, from Aforza, so I can execute perfectly at that particular location. And then we're going to finish up with some reasons to believe, some amazing customer stories, and then finally some Q&A. So the chat is open. No one else can see your questions, so please, throughout the presentation, throughout the demo, please fire them in, and I'll do my best to answer them right at the end. So, introduction to Aforza. Who are we? Why do we exist? What do we do? So put simply, we are a industry cloud computing company dedicated to consumer goods and to beverages. We are, if you look on the left, the bottom left-hand side of the slide there, we're built on the shoulders of two cloud computing giants. So Salesforce with their amazing CRM capabilities and Google Cloud, where we've got all of our pricing, promotion engines, photo automation hub. We also leverage LLM from OpenAI, and we've got applications available that work completely offline. I think everywhere in the world right now, the sun doesn't actually set on Aforza field reps who are out doing visits using our applications that are available for iOS and Android on mobile and tablet. So that's really our foundation. And then this nice hot pink layer just above that is Ava. And Ava, who you've just seen on the front cover, stands for Aforza Vertical AI. So that is AI that is specific to you. It's vertically tuned. It's not, AI that can generate an email or a poem. It's specific to you and to all of the personas that you can see here on the screen. And that's really why it's a pink platform there, because it elevates all of the different channels, all of the different users that you can see. So we help in field sales, in B2B with retailers or end consumers, for key account managers, trade promotion, planning, management, technical reps, distributor management, telesales, you name it. We probably can't fit all of the individual personas that exist in the consumer goods and the beverages space here, but Ava can help absolutely everyone there. Now, what we do is we connect your entire route to market. So no matter if you're a manufacturer, a principal, a brewer, a producer, if you're a distributor, all the way down to the retailer, we can connect the entire route to market, and we have solutions for every single one of these spaces and these areas, but all on the same platform. And we're also very excited to have extended our distributor management system and integration capabilities with Aforza Bridge, which you can see there in green. So that's integration and data transfers between manufacturers, principals, perhaps like yourselves, retailers, distributors. So if you're interested in this kind of space or Aforza Bridge, then please head to our website. We've got an entire section there. We'd be very happy to talk to you about that. But today is slightly different. We're focusing just on beverages, but we actually do have a separate webinar for Aforza Bridge that's available for you to see that in action if you want to. Just head to our website or our YouTube channel. And of course, we are trusted by leaders in the beverage, in food, health and beauty, home care, in the consumer goods space around the globe. So we've got some fantastic brands. AG Bar really pioneering the way with vertical AI, using Ava in the field for their reps. Some fantastic beverage distribution and coverage all across Europe and the world. We're very proud to call all of these fantastic companies some of our partners. And of course, there's more. We can't fit everyone on the screen. So that is Aforza. That's who we are. That's what we do. That's why we exist. Now let's jump into some of the challenges that we see in the beverage space. Because today we're not talking about generic retail execution. We're talking about the beverage reality. Because beverage growth is won in seconds. In grocery, it's cold availability, shelf blocking, pricing compliance, secondary displays. In convenience, it's impulse, it's cooler pressure. In the on-trade, it's back bar visibility, it's branded fridges, menu listings, even bartender, waiters, maitre d' recommendations. And the challenge is not the lack of investment, it's the gap between investment and real-time execution. And these really come out in these three panes that we're going to cover here. So the first one, availability failures during peak demand moments. Now, in beverages, it's pretty brutal. Availability is immediate. So if a drink is not available cold, visible, and priced correctly, the consumer 100% of the time will switch. They don't delay, they substitute your products. And the data here is clear. 70% of beverage purchases are influenced in the moment at the point of sale. So that means availability and visibility, they're not back office metrics. They are live commercial levers to all of your consumers. And on top of that, 40% of shoppers, no matter if they're in the on-trade or the off-trade, switch brands when faced with an out of stock rather than waiting or returning later. We've all done it. There's some pretty popular brands out there that if they're not available at a restaurant or when you're eating out, you will switch to an alternative, even if that's their biggest competitor. We've all done it. And that's just the reality of how it is today in the beverage space. So when a branded cooler is empty, when a fridge is present but it's not stocked, when a back bar listing exists but the product is missing, this is not a small operational issue. That is immediate lost share, essentially. And what this means is simple. The demand is immediate. Substitution is far too easy. So missing availability, poor execution, or incorrect pricing directly translates into lost revenue in that moment. Now, if you combine this with planogram and promotion execution breaking down, it's starting to paint a pretty savage picture in the beverage space. Because, as we all know, beverage brands, you all invest heavily in planograms, in cooler layouts, in secondary displays, in point of sale material. But store and restaurant, hotel, bar frequently drift from the plan. So across retail, for example, average planogram compliance is only about 60%. So that means in 4 out of 10 cases, execution does not match the strategy. And the impact is significant. Well-executed secondary displays can increase beverage sales by 20 to 30% compared to standard placement. So let's think about it. When execution drifts, you're not losing small margin, you're potentially losing double-digit uplift as well. So when shelf blocking breaks down, when competitor products they come into your feature space, when promotional point of sale is incomplete, brands lose visibility, influence, and share in real time. And growth depends on consistent execution. So it's not just distribution. And this goes hand in hand with promotional investment lacking real-time visibility and ROI. As I just said, as we all know, beverages is one of the most promotion-driven categories in fast and slow moving consumer goods. So trade promotions account for up to 20 to 30% of revenue investment for beverage brands. And this is a monumental commercial commitment. Yet, approximately only 50% of promotions actually deliver an expected ROI due to poor execution or lack of visibility. And that it's unacceptable, really. It's not because the strategy was wrong, it's because execution was incomplete. Displays arrive partially built. Competitors encroach on your space. Price tickets are incorrect. Point of sale disappears. And teams will often find out way after that promotional window has closed. Promotions drive beverage volume, but without real-time execution insight, Incomplete displays and competitive intrusion reduce the ROI before HQ even knows there is a problem. And that goes hand in hand with, by the time that insight arrives, it's too late. Let's think of an example here. So a rep goes into a store. They capture a photo of feature space, shelf execution. The day next, perhaps that night, there's a batch upload or it's manually consolidated. And throughout that week or that period, however long it takes, perhaps it's overnight, perhaps it's a few days, it's manually reviewed, or those results are passed through some sort of next best action engine. So what should the rep be doing next time they visit there? So then the rep goes back days later, weeks later, depends how many customers they have to visit, but it's completely outdated suggestion of what they should be doing. As we know, beverages stock moves so fast and decisions are made in minutes. And this is how beverage brands are quietly losing feature space, firstly, and millions in revenue. Beverage success is won in short retail moments. So feature displays, planograms, seasonal promotions, they change daily. So when insight arrives days later, you've already lost that visibility, that conversion, and that promotional ROI. But it's not all doom and gloom, because we are directly solving this for so many customers around the world right now, this moment, as this webinar is happening. We do that in a few different ways. So I'd like to introduce you to Ava. As I said, that's Aforza Vertical AI. And she's got a resume here because you can hire her. She can join your team. She is the world's leading vertical AI coach for the CPG industry. She helps every team member work faster, smarter, and with complete confidence. Even on their worst day, Ava is still performing at the highest standard based on all of your data. She has full context of the customer, of the rep, of your products, of your promotions, of your brands. She really is the ultimate cheerleader and team coach within your company. And she never goes on holiday. She's never sick. She never sleeps. She's always working. And AG Bar, fantastic customer of ours, they distribute some incredible brands across Europe, in the United Kingdom. And they hired Ava, and within a few months, they had delivered a 50% productivity increase with 96% accuracy in every visit. So that's Ava bringing real-time intelligence to their reps in the store, telling them exactly what they need to do to make that visit an absolute perfect execution according to AG Bar's visit priorities and their targets. So those are real numbers that have come from AG Bar themselves. That's not just me making them up. That's actually come from AG Bar when analyzing their performance of the field teams alongside Ava. Now, Ava does this, and you're going to see this in a demonstration, with real-time intelligence. So how does this work? So firstly, Ava is what's called multimodal. So that means she can understand photos, APIs, PDFs, contracts, emails, data from portals, whatever it may be. Ava is completely multimodal. So she can pull that data in, a handwritten note, a picture of a handwritten note, and then she applies what's called scenario interpretation. And this is where it's really important, because we've got some fantastic worldwide international beverage brands on this webinar today. And I'm certain that in some way or another, in a market somewhere, you are leveraging image recognition. Now, Ava can understand image recognition, and image recognition is fantastic. A rep takes a photo of a shelf, of a back bar, whatever it is, some point of sale, and you get some key insights. You get the products that are detected, the facings, the share of shelf, and perhaps some others, depending on who you're using, or if you've got your own in-house image recognition. That's great. Now, Ava takes that a step further because she understands the scenario of where that photo that the rep just took sits within. So she knows that from that same photo, we've got our products there, we've got our share of shelf. Ava understands that for that customer that's being visited, we've actually got a long-term agreement where we need to have 70% share of shelf. But actually, from this photo, we've got 50%. Ava knows that for this type of customer, there needs to be 10 of our core range right here. But actually, there's only 7. So instead of just the data being, you've got these products, this is your share of shelf, these are the number of facings, Ava understands that within the context of the visit, of the customer. So that's what's called scenario interpretation. And Ava then takes it another step even further with real-time automation. So she can not only just understand the scenario, interpret the situation, Ava can then actually do actions based off the back of this. So Ava has this incredible functionality called tools. Now with tools, it means Ava can generate actions and tasks based off any kind of data. So for example, as you're going to see today, she can generate in-store actions for the reps. Perhaps she schedules a visit automatically. Perhaps she notifies the key account manager that promotions aren't compliant. Perhaps she actually raises a ticket in ServiceNow in another system, or perhaps she raises a claim or a case in SAP. Do you get the picture now? Ava can have actions to any other system based off her scenario interpretation, based off, from a rep's perspective, a single photo being taken. Now, there are hundreds of use cases that Ava can cater for in the beverage space. And we know that it's overwhelming. So we have actually created an ever-evolving dynamic library called the Ava Library. You guessed it. It's a catalog of vertical AI use cases for your industry to help you get started. So I'm going to include a QR code at the end of the webinar for you to get access to this, and you can download it for yourself. But here's some examples that you can see on the screen here, and it's all sectioned up by persona. So Ava actions for field sales reps, for sales managers. We've got key account managers in there. Technical reps, perhaps those who are doing installs or more technical visits, trade planning for retailers. We've covered all the personas here, and we have hundreds of use cases, as I just mentioned, that are constantly evolving. So I think it's changing every couple of weeks. It's growing in size as more and more scenarios and different use cases are growing with our customers, and that we're seeing are available with the constant development of AI and, of course, Ava. So as I said, you can get access to this in just a few moments after the demonstration, and then you can download it for yourself and get started really quickly with the Ava library. So that's the theory. That's how we do it. Now let's see the practical. Let's see the demonstration of me as a field rep for a beverage company actually visiting one of my customers, capturing a photo, and then Ava telling me exactly what I need to do. So I'm going to start, before I even get there, with a pre-visit briefing. And that's going to be Ava processing information and telling me what I should be doing based on my last few visits there. Then I'm just going to capture a photo, nice and simple. It's going to be analyzed by Ava. She's going to apply scenario interpretation and tell me exactly what I need to do with the next best action. And what does this actually mean? Because this is a short and sharp flow. I think I said that in about 30 seconds, but let's actually go into each step here before we jump into the demo. So Ava actually processes and shares key information before my visit. So I don't have to, dig into a CRM or try and leverage and find out different bits of information. Ava processes it, summarizes it, and gives it to me before I even visit my customer. I capture a photo and Ava tells me what I need to do from that single photo. It's literally like having a manager there in the field telling you and telling your reps what you need to do. And then Ava actually surfaces the perfect assets for me to present back to that manager of that store, to the customer, based on what she's just seen to strengthen that brand advocacy. And furthermore, Ava actually writes all the data back. So I've captured a photo, and Ava has stored all that information against the customer, against the account. She's logged what products are available, what I've actually done in store, and she can notify other people. So those 4 key things with the demonstration. Let's jump straight into it. So I'm logged in on my tablet. I'm logged into Aforza, and immediately I can see on this visit to Fresh Start Shop some key things here. So I can see the location. I can check in, which starts a timer, captures my geolocation so we can see how long we're spending there. I can see my visit objectives, which could be for the entire quarter, for the week, whatever it may be. They can be unique to me or to this customer. They could be customer specific objectives. And importantly, I've got access to all of the latest digital assets here. So I can see a sell sheet for Collagen Boost, one of our new health related products that we're launching. I can see our lemon and lime sparkling, just a classic soft drink. I've got all of these assets available to me. Protein spring water. So I've got that available. That can be for me to help present to a customer, or it can just be for me, for upskilling, how to present certain products to different types of individuals and stores. Now, before I even have a conversation with the customer, I can actually ask Ava for a pre-visit briefing. So when I click on the brief, Ava has summarized all of the historical information about this customer and cross-referenced it with all of my objectives, all the products that are available, and our key KPIs for this specific customer and for me as a rep. So my last visit was 2 weeks ago. Ava has actually analyzed some Nielsen sellout data, some distributor shipments, some other key bits of information that Ava can connect to and summarize. And she's given me some specific signals here. So we can see that Chalk Spring Sparkling is 14% up versus all of the soft drinks in that category, and up 4% in this region, which is brilliant. Protein shakes are under indexing in this store, despite growth around the nation. So I need to watch out for that, and I need to try and push some of our new protein shakes here. And also we've got some other reviews, as an example, from another system highlighting strong purchase intent for some of our smart water and health shots, driven by wellness positioning and adverts that are running in this particular region. Now, last visit, competitor energy brand secured a secondary display near the chiller. So I'm going to go look out for that, maybe capture a picture. Our sparkling range was fully stocked, but we had limited facings versus our actual planograms that we want for this store. Health shots were placed on a lower shelf, which was reducing visibility and the impulse conversion. So I'm going to try and alleviate that during my visit. Now, Ava's actually given me some tips based on all of this information. Of course, I'm going to go in now and capture a photo, so she's got the latest data, but she's giving me 3 things. So let's expand facings for our sparkling SKUs. Let's reposition health shots and smart waters to eye level. Let's get that impulse sale. Let's review the protein shake availability, and if there's any secondary space, if there's anything feasible, then let's try and position that to the store manager. So I've got my objectives and I can continue with my visit. Now, within Aforza, we have this functionality called Aforza Guides. And it is, as it says in the can, it is essentially a guided audit for your field rep. So here I've got my Beverages Perfect Visit Guide. And I can click into here and immediately I can see the latest planogram for this store. So when I click into this, I can see, right, this is how we're positioning our Chalk Springs. We've got signage, we've got floor stickers here, we've got our 3 shelves, and this is how our products should be positioned. So I know that. That's brilliant. I've got that planogram specific for this customer. Now, really simple, I can just upload a photo of the shelf. Now, unfortunately, today I'm not actually in a retail store capturing a photo with some lovely drinks. So here's a photo from my camera roll. I add this, and this is now sent off to Aforza Studio. And this is our digital asset management and photo automation hub. So think all of the photos that you're capturing in the field are flowing into Aforza Studio. All of those digital assets, that planogram, those cell sheets that you saw, they are stored in Aforza Studio and they're accessible everywhere. So it really permeates everywhere in the same way that Ava does for every user. So it puts the digital assets at the heart and the core of what I am doing today in my visit, which is capturing a photo and presenting some fantastic branding to this customer to get some secondary displays. So that photo has been analyzed. Ava now understands everything that's happened in that photo as well as the planogram. So I can see that and I can actually ask Ava to tell me exactly what to do based off that photo. So she can immediately see that shelf execution does not match the chalk springs planogram. So there's multiple issues that have been identified. It's impacting visibility, brand blocking, category performance. Now, just before I go further into this prompt, you can have this in any language, in any format. If you want it in under 20 words with 3 bullet points, or if you want a 1,000 word essay, if you want emojis, if you don't want emojis, however you want Ava to be talking and interacting with your field reps or with you, no matter what your role, you can of course configure that. You can change how she communicates with you to give you the perfect response based on your actual needs. So today, obviously, I've got some emojis. It looks nice. And I can see that Ava has detected some key issues here. So Chalk Spring Sparkling range is split across the shelves. It's not on that 1, 2, 3 that we saw on the planogram earlier. So it's reducing brand blocking. We've also got competitor soft drink and energy brands within our bay, which is completely unacceptable. Protein shakes and health shots, they're positioned below eye level. They're missing key facings there. And some smart water variants are showing gaps, indicating some out of stock or perhaps just poor replenishment, either on our part or the store manager's part. So we'll help them out. Now, Ava has actually automatically done a few things in the background as well. She's tagged planogram non-compliance against this account. So now perhaps the key account manager or the planner, whoever it is, can get notified about this customer, or this customer has actually just moved into a new segment, and this is an at-risk execution visit, and perhaps a visit is automatically scheduled for me in a few days to come back and make sure that what I do today carries through in the future. We can see that the shelf image has been analyzed against our approved layout, our planogram, and our execution score has been updated for this visit. So my managers, my field sales managers, all of my teams will be able to see my specific scoring for this execution. And importantly, Ava's given me a next best action. So remove the competitor products from our section, group some of our SKUs, the sparkling SKUs, together for clear brand blocking, and reposition the functional ranges, so the protein shakes, the smart electrolyte water, get them to eye level and refill any of those gaps to restore full compliance. Now this is brilliant because this could be my second day on the job, could be my first week, but what have I actually had to do? All I've had to do was come in, check in, take a photo of the shelf and just ask Ava what to do. So at Aforza, we actually go on rep runs with our customers around the world who are using Aforza, and it's brilliant because you hear firsthand from field sales reps, from merchandisers, what they like, what they potentially don't like about the solution, how we can improve. And recently, we've had fantastic feedback where, completely unprompted, we've had reps saying, I love working with Ava because it is literally like having my manager on my shoulder telling me what I need to do with every visit. So it's great. She's there to help absolutely everyone. So I've got my next best action. Come on to the next screen, and this is to show the dynamic nature of Aforza guides, which is what I'm in right now, this guided process. I've got an option here. Is there any display space in store? So if I selected that there's an FSDU here, there's space for that, you can see dynamically the right asset appears for me to present. So I could present this beautiful Chalk Springs freestanding display unit here with the sticker on the floor to get this visibility and perhaps increase our range during this visit. Now, of course, if I added there's a countertop display, that there's an end cap, then you can see different types of digital assets are dynamically being presented here. And if I have the ability, if I've got it with me perhaps, if I have some sort of vehicle, I can install it now if they're happy to choose some of these. But if I wanted to install it later, then again, I could choose a preferred install date based on that. So that's just to show you the dynamic nature of Aforza guides and how you can have this guided, logic-driven execution for your field reps. So not only is Ava encouraging them and telling them what they need to do, you can also get a little bit more control of what you want your reps to do based on what's actually happening in store. So there's kind of it's a two-pronged benefit there for field reps to have Aforza and Ava in their hands when they're visiting all of their customers. So I've completed that guide. I'm going to get to building my merchandise now as a field rep, and probably one of the fastest visits I've ever done in my life as a field rep, knowing exactly what I need to do and getting some new merchandise installed. So what have you just seen? You've seen me as a field rep get a pre-visit briefing from Ava. She processed and shared all the key information, that historical context, and data from other sources as well. I was guided to capture a photo, nice and simple, and then that was analyzed by Ava with scenario interpretation. So not just image recognition, but actually interpreting the scenario against our objectives, how we want to present our products. And then she gave me a next best action. And she also wrote some data back into Aforza, tagging this customer, notifying the right people, and triggering any kind of process, all from a single photo. Now, don't just take our word for it. So as I mentioned, AG Bar, fantastic customer. They drive 50% more productivity with Ava. And these slides on the right-hand side, they are taken from AG Bar's Capital Markets Day, where they presented to show all of the impact that Ava has given all of their field teams with Aforza. So always a pleasure going on a rep run with AG Bar and seeing how they're leveraging the technology. Now, if you want to have a look for yourself on what kind of productivity enhancements you can get with Ava, we have actually designed a really simple Ava ROI calculator specifically for beverages. So you can estimate your time saved per visit from a productivity side of things, your execution coverage, your improved ROI, and some potential revenue uplift numbers there. So scan the QR code or head to that link there, and you can input your own numbers. Alternatively, if you wanna get in touch with us, then please head to the website. You're going to get a recording of the webinar straight after this. You'll get a direct link. If you reply to that, we would be more than happy to schedule a one-to-one session with you if you want to learn more about how Ava can help, perhaps not for field reps, but for any other users in your space, then we would be more than happy to do that for you. And another sense of not just taking our word for it. So we're very, very proud and thankful to receive best-in-class industry analyst recognition. So the POI, which is the Promotion Optimization Institute, every year they run a huge panorama on all of the vendors in the consumer goods space. And some people on here might be aware of POI. There's a link to the report there. Aforza is in here. It's completely external to us, but we are very proud and humble to receive 13 best-in-class distinctions on all of these areas that you can see on the screen here. You can see there's a lovely quote from Pam Brown, the Chief Commercial Officer at POI. So if you want to check this out, please do. It's got all of the vendors in our space that are available to you. So please do check it out. They do seriously in-depth analysis on everything that's available for your industry. Now, just before we get to Q&A, I can see there's a few questions that have come in. As promised, here is a link to the Ava library. It's that catalog of vertical AI use cases for your industry. They're proven, so they drive real business impact. Almost zero setup required. It's completely prompt-based. It's multimodal. It's not just a chatbot, and it connects, as I said, with your enterprise systems with Ava tools. So either head to that link or scan the QR code. It's also available through our website. So if I jump off this slide and you haven't quite got the QR code, then just head to our website and you'll see the link there. Now, I can see we've had a fair few number of questions that have come in during the webinar. So I'm going to just open these up and answer these here. First question, here they are. Does Ava work for both on-trade and off-trade environments? Yes, so Ava understands different execution models. So in the off-trade, it may focus on, as you've seen today, she'll focus on the shelf blocking, the coolers, the promotional displays, whereas in the on-trade, it could guide on-trade reps around things like menu presence, any branded fridges, back bar visibility, even under bar fridge visibility. And the important thing in the on trade is staff advocacy. So not only having those menu placements, but actually creating brand advocates in the staff in those locations. So Ava can help with the storytelling. Ava can help with the recommendations on how to position certain products, so that those staff, whoever they are, waiters, waitresses, maitre d's, bar staff, can actually tell the stories of your brand, and get that being the perfect execution, even when you're not there, essentially. So yes, Ava understands those different execution models and can apply her commercial knowledge and her coaching based on that type of classification and segmentation. Great question. So, second question, how does Ava help improve promotional ROI? So, Ava monitors execution in real time and flags the risks such as missing displays, incorrect pricing, or incomplete activation. So this allows teams to intervene during the actual promotional window rather than reviewing the results afterwards. And as we saw from the pain slides, those stats, it's pretty dire in terms of execution. So actually just fixing the execution, making it as real time as possible if there is a problem, will massively help improve promotional ROI. Another great question. Yeah, thank you. So what makes Ava different from using real-time analytics tools? Good question. So traditional tools essentially explain what's happened. Ava is guiding what to do next in that moment. And you still get the data of what's actually happened, and you get the data of what Ava has said to the rep. So Ava will interpret the execution signals continuously and provide real-time recommendations so that your teams can act while those opportunities still exist. And what we saw today was obviously me as a field rep actually out visiting a customer and getting those real-time recommendations. But the same thing can be applied to trade planning, to key account management. So Ava can help and sit within their workflows and tell them in real time what they should do, what they should change based on your own brand guidelines. Another one here, can we get a copy of the Ava library? Yes. You'll get a recording of this webinar with the direct link in there. And it's also on the Aforza website. So that's just aforza.com, and you'll see there's an Ava section with the Ava library, and you can download it for yourself, get access to it, and share it with your team. So how does Ava know what a rep should do in each store? So what you saw today was obviously very specific to a smaller retailer with our products being in there. But what actually happened was Ava was combining multiple data sources, including historical sales, execution data, promotions, which ones are live, any pricing conditions, some availability signals from other systems like Nielsen, and of course, this is the important bit, the store context. So Ava interprets all of this together to generate the real-time next best actions that are specific to that outlet, because they might be different if I'm visiting a small independent retail store versus if I was visiting, a larger Walmart or a Carrefour or a Tesco's, Waitrose, whatever it may be. So they're going to have different next best actions and guidance for the rep of what they should do in that store based on the type of visit. And of course, if it was in the on-trade, if it was visiting a hotel, a restaurant, a cafe, whatever it may be, a kiosk, then again, the actions would be completely different based on that store. Good question. Another question here. In terms of security with Ava and the data that she can access, how does this work? Can you choose? Very good question. Very important question. So baked into what the Aforza team did when we built Ava is firstly this robust admin section, where you can choose, firstly, at a basic level, of what systems, what data Ava has access to. So within Aforza, you have full controls. Ava almost exists like an individual user, like a person. And for that individual user, you can choose what she can see. So can she see my customer details, the accounts? Can she see my promotions? Turn it on and off. Can she see just parts of my promotions, perhaps just the name and the products are involved? Can she see the products? Can she see my visits? That kind of thing. So at a basic level, you've got this Ava user that you're choosing how and what she connects to. Then you have a layer beneath that of the individual, so the actual human user that is interacting with Ava. So Ava will also respect the individual user's security settings. So let's say I'm a field rep and I'm not supposed to have executive level information like promotional ROI and perhaps some customer contract data. And if I try and ask Ava, hey, tell me the contract data or the promotion ROI, Ava will block that because she knows that I do not have access to that. And perhaps Ava doesn't either. But if Ava did have access to that because she's actually being used in trade planning, she's being used at an executive level to help, to do some light forecasting, some modeling, to advice on promotions and plans, then Ava could still have access to that data, but she would respect the individual user. Great question. So security, trust is built into the Aforza solution. And one other point there is actually anything that Ava does. So anything that Ava even looks at in the system, anytime she reads data, updates it, you can see a full audit trail of everything she's done. So that's fully, exportable, downloadable, and you can see all of that data. You can see exactly what Ava is doing for your field teams. So it helps in two ways. Firstly, security, compliance, but secondly, in how you tweak it and enhance exactly what you want Ava to do. You can see everything that she's suggesting and recommending to your field reps or to any other type of individual. And you can use that to enhance and tweak it based on your changes that might be happening, your new goals, anything that you might be bringing to market that's new. You can enhance Ava in that sense. Now, conscious of time, I think final question here. Can Ava work in other languages? Yes, absolutely. So Ava is being used around the world and can operate in multiple languages. So if that's Brazilian Portuguese, Portuguese, whatever it may be, Ava can understand the lingo of that user. And furthermore, she can also understand your internal language. So for example, you might have custom terms for promotions, for types of customers. You can train Ava to understand that, and she will immediately start using that language. So it really feels like you have an employee yourself, Ava, who you hire, and she just hits the ground running from day one. Now, that is all the time for questions today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you want to see anything specific in a one-on-one meeting or dive into anything in a bit more detail, please do get in touch with us. You will receive a recording of this webinar later today or early tomorrow. So please share this around if you found it interesting. And if you have any questions, please get in touch. We'd be very happy to answer them and to show you anything that you'd like to see that might be specific to your use case. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you for sharing time with us at Aforza, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you.